What's up you guys, Grace with Grace Lee Fitness here with y'all. In today's video, I am going to talk about cutting fast versus cutting slow. Now before I get into it, I want to talk about what cutting fast is to me. So to me, the definition of cutting fast would be losing 2 or more pounds per week. And then the definition of cutting slow would be losing maybe a quarter to a little over a pound per week. And I'm going to talk about the pros and cons of each. So stay tuned, you guys. All right, you guys, so I got my notes right here what I'm going to talk about today, and let's get started. So some of the pros of cutting fast would be fast results. You're going to get there quicker. So say you had the goal of losing 25 pounds. You can guarantee lose that in 90 days. So you get there in 90 days, it'd be quick. Also, another pro of cutting fast would be if you have a deadline, such as a wedding or other special occasion. So say you have a deadline for your anniversary in 90 days, that would be a great reason to cut quick if you want to look good for a photo shoot and so on. All right, some of the cons of quick cutting or fast cutting would be you have to create a larger deficit, whether that larger deficit comes from your diet or macros, or that larger deficit comes from exercise such as weightlifting and cardio. So you gotta create that deficit somehow, and typically people do that mainly by diet and then some by cardio if they don't want to give up all their macros. All right, and when you cut quick, another con is you have a higher chance of muscle loss. A lot of times when people cut, they want to reveal the muscle they've been building or the muscle that they have, and they don't want to lose that muscle or else you're just going to look skinny fat. So another con is muscle loss. All right, another big one is if you're not super disciplined or kind of like living in the shell of being in a diet, it is harder to stick to the diet. So you have a higher chance of falling off the wagon, screwing up your diet, and having to basically pay for your consequences again. All right, so with extreme weight loss, or not even extreme weight loss, but trying to diet quick and getting fast results, because you're deprived the whole time during the diet and it's pretty miserable doing either the cardio or losing a lot of calories and carbs through your diet, so your macros. A part of that is, say you're disciplined and you lose the 25 pounds for your wedding or for that event that you have, thereafter you have a higher risk of falling back off the wagon, gaining all the weight back very quick. And that's because you've been living in deprivation for so long that once you get those calories back in, you just feel like you're living in abundance and you just feel the need to overeat. All right, another con of cutting too quickly is because you're, creating a larger deficit through mainly your diet, your workouts are going to suffer. During your workouts, it's better to have higher macros like carbs and fats, mainly carbs, to be able to have the glycogen and the energy from your food to be able to have a great workout. And when you're on very low calories or macros, your workouts are going to suffer. So you may not be able to have the better optimal workouts to sustain the muscle that you do have. So workouts may suffer. All right, so now we're going to talk about the pros and cons of doing a slower cut. All right, so with this one, I'm going to talk about the opposite. I'm going to talk about the cons of a slow cut. So the cons is it takes longer. Sometimes it can take double or triple the time to cut slower. I've heard of people contest prepping or trying to get shredded and taking their time, and the diet taking 6 months to even a year of cutting. And so yeah, it does take longer. Another con of slow cutting is it's not great for deadlines. If you have a short deadline, like you need to lose X amount of pounds in 60 days or 90 days, a slow cut will not be great for you to get the results that you need in that period of time. All right, so a good pro to having higher calories or macros or cutting slower is that you have better workouts. And most of the time you feel like you're not on a diet, except maybe toward the end of your slower cut. During a slower cut, it's easier to have a social life. Yes, you may not be able to eat out wherever you want for every meal, but there are ways that you could fit in, you know, 1 or 2 meals a day eating out, as long as you're making smarter choices. But it is sustainable and you're able to have more of that balanced life. All right, so during a slower cut, because you have higher macros, you don't always have to put in too much cardio. So you definitely have lesser cardio than if you're trying to do a faster cut. All right, during a slower cut, you have a better chance, a higher chance of sustaining, maintaining the current muscle you have, and even possibly building on the muscle that you have and gaining muscle during your cut. And the greatest, I feel like, pro of doing a slower cut is you have a better chance of, after the cut is over, maintaining and sustaining your weight loss. Maybe gaining a few pounds back, because that is normal if you get shredded. But once you reach that kind of balance point in your physique, you're able to maintain it better because you haven't been deprived this whole time. So you don't have that urge to just go out and just eat a bunch of Pizookies at BJ's, pizzas, and doing the 10K challenge. So to bring this all together, I want to give an example of just a fake person I named Sally. It's a female. She's 25 years old. So I'm basically going to show you guys her calories on a fast cut versus a slow cut. So I'm gonna read them out right now. So Sally during a fast cut is on 1,200 calories. And these are her macros. She has 115 grams of protein, 43 grams of fats, 88 grams of carbs. Now, I don't know if you guys ever been on less than 100 grams of carbs, but it is miserable. Like, what can you eat with 88 carbs? I guess you could eat mainly vegetables and stuff, but it's not very much carbs. And also to include that this example that I'm sharing with you guys is of an example of someone who's not doing any cardio. All right, so now we have Sally on a slow cut, and during the slow cut example, she's also not doing cardio, just to keep it even. So during the slow cut, she's on 1,700 calories. These are the macros: 115 grams of protein, 45 grams of fats, a little more fat, and 208 grams of carbs. So like more than double the carbs. So this person is gonna have a better chance of maintaining, sustaining their workouts, and feeling like, for the most part, they're not on a diet. Typically, people who do a slower cut, for the end of the cut, like the last 2 to 3 weeks or month, the macros do drop, because at a certain point, your body doesn't want to lose weight. It will want to plateau, so you got to make that change to force it to change. But other than that, during most of a slow cut process, if you're not just trying to get shredded, but just lose maybe 20 pounds, it is way more maintainable, sustainable, and just better in the long run, in my opinion. So you may be wondering why I know the pros and cons of a fast and slow cut. Well, I've been there. I've been that person before who wanted fast results. So I did urge my coach. I hired an online coach, Matt, and basically I wanted to lose, 2 pounds weight. I was impatient because I had a previous coach. It was just taking too long. Like, I wasn't even dropping half a pound a week. I was like at one point gaining weight, and I was getting really impatient. So I hired Matt Keto, and I was like, I want to lose, this many pounds. This is my goal. And we had a deadline, because I had a deadline for my goal, right? So I was dropping, you guys, 2 pounds a week, but I was miserable. And partly it's because it was my fault, and I'm gonna get more into that. All right, so the reason why I was on low macros and doing cardio almost 7 days a week was mainly my fault. So I was going through this weird life change during that time, and I would mess up really bad at least once or twice every other weekend. And by mess up, I mean like totally just not care about my macros, totally just throw it out the window and be like YOLO. So I was kind of paying for that as well, but in the end, my carbs was at like 100 grams of carbs at one point, and then I couldn't take it anymore, so he raised it to 125 grams of carbs. And I really didn't need to be on that low of macros, but because I was messing with the combination of me keep messing up the diet, and also the combination of me trying to lose 2 pounds a week, yeah, I was on low macros. And I was doing 400 calories of cardio like 5 or 6 days a week. So imagine that, you guys. My workouts were crap. I was hangry most of the time. I was not a good person to be around. And when I was on that Stairmaster, I just wanted to die. I'd be dripping in sweat and just like miserable looking at the calorie count on the Stairmaster, and it was just not a good time. But I'll show you the picture. I look good afterward, but it was hell getting there. Okay, so versus today. I'm not gonna reveal my coach yet, but I will do a coach reveal later. I wanna make sure that I get the full scope of my coach before I just be like, oh, here's my coach. I wanna show like the whole transformation before I reveal the coach. But this time around, I'm being more patient. I'm letting my coach basically do the work, and I'm following his style, his plan. So I'm not gonna urge him to be like, I want to drop 2 pounds a week, because last time it wasn't maintainable, wasn't sustainable. In fact, after I lost the weight and I got really like cut up and everything, I totally just blew it out the window. Like, I started eating like crap. I started like going crazy for carbs, and yeah, it wasn't good. But today I am more on point with the diet. I'm 100% on board. I've been doing all my cardio, the 100% of the diet, and I haven't felt like I'm on a diet. My macros are still around 210 grams of carbs, so a good amount of carbs, I believe. And then I don't feel like I'm on a diet. It's more maintainable, more sustainable, and yes, it's gonna probably take double or triple the amount of time to lose the weight versus if I was losing 2 or more pounds per week. But I feel like it's more worth it, and I feel great, and I don't feel like I'm suffering, and I'm not hangry all the time, and I don't wanna, like, you know, basically before I would avoid social situations because I was afraid I would just go crazy for the carbs that were in front of me. It was like a drug. I am able to still hang out with my friends and do all those things in moderation. But yeah, it's just all about living a balanced life. And I feel like the fitness lifestyle, it should be about having balance in your life. Like being fit, yet still enjoying the other aspects of life, whether it be food, hanging out with people, you know, going places, doing things. Fitness shouldn't basically handicap you to just want to be in your little, you know, square of a home and not leave, and, you know, have everything prepared and be living in like fear that you're gonna mess up your diet. It shouldn't be like that. So hey guys, I just wanted to make this video because I thought it would be really helpful to those who maybe are thinking about starting a fitness journey and don't know whether they should be like on higher macros or lower macros and so forth. Anyhow, you guys, that's going to conclude today's video. If you liked the video, please give it a like and comment down below what your fitness goals are for the year, and subscribe if you have not. I am embarking on a 90-day cutting journey, and maybe I'm going to cut some more, you never know.